Hello, this is Angela Kinney, and I'm the herbalist at Nature Made Gardens. I just did a video. Actually, I did a video and they broke it up into two sessions. So there's video 1 and video 2 on the immune system, the healthy immune system, how it works, prevention herbs, and what herbs you can take with the onset of illness. So in this video, we're going to show you how to make fire cider. Now there's a little bit of a history behind fire cider. So fire cider is an herbal formula for winter health created by Rosemary Gladstar. So Rosemary Gladstar is my herbal teacher and mentor. She has fantastic books. She's got a book here called Fire Cider. 101 zesty recipes for health boosting remedies made with apple cider vinegar by Rosemary Gladstar and friends. And there's not just Rosemary Gladstar's recipe for fire cider, but there's all kinds of information and other recipes where people have taken fire cider and they've adapted it to how they like it or what they want to put in it. So, but today we're going to show you how to make fire cider, but first I want to tell you a little bit of history behind fire cider. So Rosemary Gladstar was making it in the kitchen at the California School of Herbal Studies while she was teaching a class called Herbs for Winter Health. And this formula was created to help others to be able to make the fire cider with readily available kitchen ingredients. And that's what this is all about. This is all about people making medicine, people doing things in their home, in their kitchen to help their families and their communities. And so she was making this, and it was going to be used as a daily tonic to warm and energize the body. You raise the immunity and aid in circulation. There were already tonics out at that time. There was Dr. Jarvis's apple cider vinegar tonic, and then there was Dr. Christopher. He had a hot apple cider vinegar and cayenne toddy type deal that he had out. He's a great teacher also that Rosemary learned under. Good books to read. So, and then there was the popular Four Thieves vinegar, which was used by 4 grave robbers in the Middle Ages to prevent them from getting the plague while they robbed the graves of victims. So there's a whole story behind the Four Thieves vinegar. So Rosemary Gladstar's recipe was taught and it was passed on to many herbal students and readers over the years. And so it was enjoyed and used, and the recipe was adapted and it was changed with each herbalist that was inspired to add their own special touch. So it was a beloved recipe, loved by all, it kept families and communities well throughout the winter. So it was traditionally made each year for winter health by families, herbalists, etc. So time went on and the years went on and the herbal industry grew. So she made this probably back in the 70s or late 60s. And it grew side by side with the resurging interest in herbal medicine. So in response to an ever-growing need, many herbalists started small cottage businesses to provide high-quality herbs and remedies for their community. Once Etsy and other internet shops were up and running, they became great venues to sell their homemade products and provide a way for the home herbalist to earn money and earn a livelihood. So then, suddenly and unexpectedly, a brand new company owned by 2 young people saw a great opportunity and without any public notice trademarked the name Fire Cider. So there'd always existed a strong sense of sharing and cooperation among people who were practicing herbalism. People readily shared recipes and information in classes, online, through books, newsletters, in classes, teaching, letting other people know, and all these things were shared. What was a good remedy for if it was not for sharing? So in addition, there were lots of remedies that we considered part of our herbal legacy, and it was community owned. So anyone was welcome to make them and sell them. So there were hundreds of herbal formulas that fall into this category, and they're open. They're like open software. Everyone is free to use them, tinker with them, improve them, adapt them, and the result is shared with the world, and everyone benefits. So, however, with trademarking of the name Fire Cider, suddenly all those herbalists who had been making and selling this traditional herbal formula, sometimes for decades, became vulnerable to accusations of trademark infringement. If they wanted to sell it, they had to rename it and they had to relabel it. So, because of the huge amount of publicity around the Fire Cider trademark, the story went viral. And long story short, a long legal battle begun with Rosemary Gladstar and many herbalists, and they went to the battle and they won. And so now Fire Cider is no longer trademarked, and anyone can make and sell Fire Cider. Now, I've been using Fire Cider for several years and have loved it, but I've never sold it because this was going on. This was a long battle that was going on, and it's a beloved recipe that anyone can make. And so tonight, I want to show you how to make it. It's an entry-level medicine that you can make in your home. It's so easy, and who knows, you might see how easy this is to make and you'll be like, I think I'll make some elderberry syrup, and it may take you down an herbal journey to help your family and your community with traditional medicine. And so this just may lead to one thing and another, but it's one of the best anti-flu medicines available, and it's fun to make, and you can take it, you can buy all these things at the store, or grow them and make medicine. So we're going to get to the recipe, and in my earlier video I said that I had handouts, and it's got the recipe in it, and if you're interested, you could email me arkenny65@yahoo.com with the handouts of these videos that has the information that we talked about, or you can buy this book, Fire Cider, and it will tell you all how to make Fire Cider and all kinds of other recipes. You may like another recipe. So this recipe that I'm using tonight is for the most part Rosemary's recipe. I'm not a big measurer, and I don't think she is too, and so I just kind of go at it easily. I have already made some here, and I have been letting it set for about a month, and it's setting in a half-gallon jar with a plastic lid because the vinegar can corrode a metal lid. And so we're going to make this up in a minute, but first we're going to pour it up because it's already done and ready. But right now we're going to start in with making it. I'm going to use a food processor, but you wouldn't have to. You could chop up the herbs and just put it in a jar yourself, and you can make it as simple as you want. And so I like to use my Vitamix because it's just a simple way to really process your herbs. I use it a lot for making tinctures. I have a dry container that powders up herbs to make into capsules. And so the ingredients that you need, and I encourage you, if this is the first time you've watched this video, to go back to my other videos because I talk about ginger and I talk about garlic and their benefits. And then I'm also going to add horseradish. Now, horseradish needs to be fresh. This is a really good brand of horseradish. It's called Dick's Wild Root Horseradish. This man is from Wablo, Missouri, and so he's a local for us, and he will ship it, and he sells it fresh, and you can also buy it fresh in these jars and put it in the freezer and save it for later. I do grow horseradish. Mine is not really big. I'm needing to maybe fertilize it and get a little bit bigger, but also I like to dig up my horseradish in the fall whenever it's frosted. And so right now it hasn't done that yet, and I'm ready to make Fire Cider, and so we're going to go ahead and use this, and I wanted to show you. He sells this in lots of different convenience stores and different places around. You could also probably contact him at www.dicks wildroothorseradish.com, and you'd probably be able to purchase some. You might be able to purchase some other brand. It doesn't have to be this brand, but you need to get fresh horseradish. Or maybe you can go to a farmer's market and get you some fresh horseradish, or someplace like that. So this recipe that we're going to use today, we're going to use 1 onion, and we've already cut this onion up. And so onions have lots of great properties. And what this is what I would call technically a shrub. And a shrub is something where you infuse it in organic apple cider vinegar, and you let it set for about 4 weeks, a month, or you could let it set for a couple of weeks, and then you strain it off, and then you match it with honey. And so I make an elderberry shrub, I make a ginger, lemon, cinnamon shrub. I also make a cayenne shrub that I use for arthritis. That's fantastic. You can see here I've got cayennes. I grow my own cayennes, and we've had a bumper crop this year. I probably got about 3 gallons of dried cayennes, and I use it in many things. And then we're going to use organic apple cider vinegar, and I get this from a company called Azure Market. They're out of the West Coast, and they make a shipment throughout United States, drops of organic food. And this has the mother in it. It's unfiltered, raw apple cider vinegar. And you need that for that good gut flora fermented food. So you always want to use the apple cider vinegar that's made with the mother. Bragg's is another great brand. I buy this brand because I buy lots of it, and this is a little bit more affordable for me. So I like for things to be where people can afford it. So we're also going to put garlic in here, and I've already peeled these garlics. There's going to be 12 cloves of that. And then this is a ginger root, and you can buy this at the store. And I don't peel it. I'm just going to grind it up in there. I have washed it and cleaned it. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in the 1 whole onion. And we're going to put that in there. And then we're going to put in the 12 cloves of garlic and put that in there. And then we're going to do this hand of ginger. And so I'm going to cut it up just a little bit. This is quite a bit of ginger. I'm somebody that really likes ginger, and I feel like ginger really opens up the chest. And this whole fire cider is really great for just opening up the chest. It helps your immune system, increases your immune system. It's just fantastic winter tonic drink to drink throughout the winter. You would probably drink this and like either dilute it with water, or this is a little bit hard here, or I'm not pressing down hard enough. So the ginger, if you just put it in whole like that, it can be kind of stringy and get caught up in the blades. So I like to chop it up just a little bit to get it in there. And so I'm also going to show you how to make a ginger tea here after I make the fire cider, so that you can know in the other videos. Please go back and watch the Healthy Immune System videos, and you'll hear all about ginger and the benefits of ginger. But ginger is something you can buy at the store and use in your home very easily. Okay, so I use about a hand of ginger. This is a pretty big hand, but it's okay. It's not rocket science. You just kind of measure and go on. Okay, so then we're also going to add this horseradish. This is very strong, fresh horseradish. That horseradish is great for heating up the system, kicking in the immune system. This is one of the best things for sinus congestion. If you didn't have this fire cider and you had a stuffed up nose, you could eat a little horseradish and it would open up and break up that sinus congestion, that plugged nose. So we're going to put that in there. It's quite a bit of horseradish, but I like it. I like it pretty hot. And we're just kind of, you can chop all this up. If you chopped up your horseradish, you'd be crying, and your onions and all that stuff. So you might want the benefit of all that. So I'm going to just make sure we get, I like to be frugal. I don't want to lose out on any of this horseradish here. So we're going to put a little apple cider vinegar in there and make sure we get all of that, because I'm going to put a little apple cider vinegar in there to mix that all. Okay, and now we're going to get some cayenne peppers. Now the cayenne peppers are, I dry my cayenne peppers. You could use powdered cayenne that you get at the store. Since I raise mine, I just like to do them like this. And so I've kind of got my recipe here, how many I did. I used 8, and I'm just going to pop them in there, and they're going to grind up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and they're, when I put them in the jar, they're clean, so I don't have to wash them right now. Okay, so this is it. This is the ingredients, and then the apple cider vinegar. So we're going to pour that in there just to help let that get mixed up good. I don't know if we'll have to tamp it down or not. Let's see. This will be kind of noisy, but we'll work through it. About putting it in the food processor is you really break it down, and so you're opening up a lot more area for that to work and make a stronger product. So I really like using a food processor for that. So now we're going to get our jar. This is a half-gallon jar. So what the recipe I gave you was for a half-gallon, and a half-gallon would be pretty good for, it might do a family. It's going to do about 4 pints after it gets done. So, and here's my, you can buy a plastic lid. You can buy like a set of these, although lids are a little bit hard to come by right now with this crazy coronavirus thing going on. So, okay, so we're just going to pour this into the jar. My kitchen smells wonderful. If you like onions, garlic, and horseradish and ginger. Now you could use this as a daily tonic. You could use this in food. You could also use this in, you know, make a salad dressing out of it or whatever. Some people take the, after they get done and strain it off, they take that and use that kind of as a relish. You could also redo it, like once you strain it off, you could put more apple cider vinegar over it and do it again. It wouldn't be quite as strong, but you could get another use out of it. Trying to get all that out of there. Okay. And now we just need to add enough apple cider vinegar to top it all off. And I didn't get my labels in here, but you can see what I usually do is I label it and I put the date and I put what I've put in it, and that with the lid on there, and then you shake it each day. Sometimes I forget, and sometimes I shake it more than once, but you just shake it each day. It doesn't have to be kept in the refrigerator. It can just set on the cabinet. You can see I've got 4 other jars over here going. We're going to be making fire cider tomorrow, getting ready for my event. And see, I've shook that a little bit, and I need to put a little more apple cider vinegar. That kind of absorbed it. And that's another thing, you need to just kind of check it. Sometimes you want everything covered. So after you shake it, and let it set for, just check it, make sure that that's not gone down too much. Okay, so that one needs to be labeled, and it'll set for 4 weeks, and then it'll be ready to go. And so now we're gonna take the one that I've had setting for a while. Keep forgetting things that I need, so try to have it all out here. Okay, so this is just a strainer. One thing I'm going to mention is I'm going to put on a pair of gloves because these cayenne peppers will burn your hands, and I'm going to squeeze that out into there. And the last time I did this, my hands burned for a few hours, and so it's not like cutting up fresh jalapenos when you're making salsa, but it will kind of burn for a little while, and some people have stronger sensitivity than other people do. And so I'm going to put some gloves on because of the cayennes so that my hands don't get burnt. And then you touch your face and then you're burning. Okay, so we're just going to pour this in here like this. And so we want to just kind of let that drip out of there, but I kind of help the liquid go through there. That's what I'm got the gloves on, because of the cayennes. You could run it through a cheesecloth if you wanted to. I don't think this has got anything in here that... Sometimes you need to use a cheesecloth on some things because it's got little seeds and stuff, but this I think will be fine. And I'm just squeezing all of that goodness out of there. Now, what I was talking about, you can take this and make this into some kind of dip stuff, or you could put it in soups, or incorporate it into your food, or you could, maybe not squeeze it out so much and put it back in the jar and put some more apple cider vinegar over it and go at it again. Might not be quite as strong, but it'd still be good. Okay. So we're just going to set this over here for now. Okay, so you can see I've got about 6 cups of it, and so usually what I'm able to do in this, I'm going to warm the vinegar up. So I'm going to pour some of it off. Take these gloves back off. I don't function with them very well. I'm rinsing this out because I just want the liquid. Okay. So what I'm going for, because I do this often, I'm going for 4 cups of liquid of this vinegar. And so I'm going to pour some of this off. So I'm just going to put it in this jar and go down to 4 cups. Because I know that's what I can do at a time for this. Okay, so now I've got 4 cups of the vinegar after I strained it. Now I'm going to put it on the stove. And you don't want it to boil, you just want to warm it a little. And so now I'm going to measure out. I've got 4 cups of vinegar, and so now I need 4 cups of honey. Now, this is the optional part. Some people don't want that much honey in their product or in their fire cider. That's totally optional. I use equal parts. That's usually how I make my shrubs. but you can do whatever you want to do. This is not rocket science. This is your recipe, because they have, we now can make fire cider and do what we want in our kitchens with it. We can make it however we want to make it. So I'm going to pour 4 cups of honey, and this is raw honey. Okay, now we're just letting that heat up a little bit. You don't want to heat your honey a lot, because you'll take out the good properties out of it. You don't want to heat your vinegar too hot either. You just want to get it warm enough that it's going to make it and the honey blend together well. Okay. All right, so now we're going to, we'll just bring this back over to the area over here where we can see a little bit better. Okay, so now we're going to pour, this is our 4 cups of honey, and this is our 4 cups of the apple cider vinegar that's been infused with horseradish and garlic and onions and ginger and cayennes. And so you see how the honey's at the bottom and the vinegar's at the top. So by warming that just slightly, it'll help it to mix up a little bit better. You still gotta mix it, but. So we're just getting this all mixed up really good. I may not warmed it up long enough because I'm trying to hurry so the video won't be too long. You can see it kind of changes colors just a little bit. Each batch will be just a little bit different. Maybe you had a little heavier hand with the garlic, or maybe you had a little heavier hand with the ginger. So it's just yours to create and enjoy. Have fun with it. So this is something that every family can make every winter and have some fire cider on hand. Boost your immune system, and it tastes good. So that's one of the fun things. You got to try it to make sure it tastes great, which it will. Okay, so I'm going to give it a little taste. Smells fantastic. It's fantastic. It's warm. I'm feeling it in my chest. It's heating my system up. Great, kicking in that immune system. And if I had a little bit of illness and had a little bit of something going on, it would help break up that mucus and help that. So now you can buy, like, if you buy vinegar bottles, like if you buy the Bragg's vinegar, lots of times they'll come in little bottles like this and save them. They come in quarts or pints, and so you always want to have like a little plastic lid. but just any kind of bottle. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be a bottle like this. You can just use a quart jar and put a plastic lid on it, and you've got your fire cider. So for your family, this makes it easy to pour off. So we're just going to pour this in here. As it sets, it gets a little bit darker. This I made this last week, so it's just a little darker. It just gets darker as it sets. And of course, it depends on, you know, your vinegar. Sometimes your vinegar's a little darker. Sometimes your honey's a little darker. Okay, you put a label on there. I've got a label on this one. You've got the ingredients in there. You can make it for your family, or you can make it and sell it at some farmer's market to help your community. So we're going to make some more of that in a minute. But I want to show you also another thing that you can make to help if you get sick is ginger tea. And so ginger tea, you just take a piece of ginger, and ginger is one of those, you can buy it at the store, at the grocery store. It's usually in the produce section, and it's not something, I mean, you can just like break this off and it'll kind of self-heal itself. I store my ginger in the refrigerator don't put it in a plastic bag. You just leave it in the refrigerator just like it is, just like you see it at the grocery store. That's how you store it, because if you put it in a plastic bag, it might mold. And so I always tell people in my classes, you know, to make ginger tea, you just do 3 pieces of ginger, like 3 coins, or 4. I'm somebody that really likes ginger, so I'm going to use these 4. And then I've washed my lemon, and I'm going to cut my lemon, and you could use half of a lemon if you wanted to, but probably I like to just use just a little bit, because otherwise it's just a little bit. I just like about a slice or so of the lemon. Okay, so I've got like 4 slices of that ginger with the skin on. No need to peel it, and a little bit of lemon. And then I'm going to go over here into this pot, and it's got about 3 cups of water, and I'm just going to put it in there like that. And I really like cinnamon to add to it, and so there's a couple of sticks of cinnamon. And on cinnamon, whenever you simmer it like this and you get done and you strain this off, if your cinnamon is still tightly curled, you can continue to use it until it's complete. It'll like completely unfurl. I mean, it'll just completely spread out. Then you know that you've gotten everything out of it. So to make ginger tea, you just put it in there like that, and I'm turning it on about 3. And then I will just let that simmer real slow for probably about 30 minutes. And then I will strain that off, and you can add just a little bit of honey and drink that warm. You can strain it off and put it in a jar and put it in the refrigerator. If it was me, I would probably pour water back over these and make another ginger tea. I'm kind of frugal, but that, you know, you just continue to use that until it doesn't have as much of a ginger flavor. If you really like it strong and that's the only way you like it, then maybe just 1 use would be all you would want to do. So the other thing I want to talk about is that you can take, in the morning, you can take a lemon, and like half of a lemon, and you would squeeze it and put it in like about half of a cup of water, or a cup of water, hot water. And you would drink that. As a child, I remember being ill, and my mom would bring me hot lemonade, and you add a little bit of honey to it, and it tasted so good. And so in my first video, I talked about lemon water, but also you can take it and squeeze it and put it in warm water to make a warm tea with lemon and water and a little bit of honey. Now, if you need to kick your system in just a little bit more, and this is not even if you're sick, this is a really good for your liver cleanser. It's just great to drink first thing in the morning. It kind of activates everything. Great for inflammation. You can do a little pinch of cayenne powder and cayenne pepper powder and put that in there with the lemon and the water, and the hot water and the honey. And drink that warm. And I guarantee you, if you're cold, you won't be cold anymore. It warms your system up. It's great for the liver, activates the immune system, clears the mucus out of your throat. Don't have to do the cayenne. I had a guy come to me one time and he said, I just constantly have mucus in my throat. And I said, why don't you get a lemon and just do half of a lemon each day with a little bit of water and a little bit of honey and see how that does for you. And he come back to me, he said, that's been the best remedy anybody has ever told me. And so he drank it daily as a tea, and it was a pretty inexpensive remedy that he could just go to the store and do it himself. So apple cider vinegar in a little bit of water with a little bit of honey is also a great thing to clear the mucus out of your throat. So these are things that you can do in your home. Medicine doesn't have to be bought at the store, so some of these things you have to buy at the store, but you can make it yourself. And so this is great for the immune system. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to make fire cider. I highly recommend Rosemary Gladstar's book, Fire Cider, 101 Zesty Recipes. And so I'm so glad you came and joined me today on my channel. I hope you learned more about the immune system in my previous video, and I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about how to make fire cider yourself and the things, how easy it is, and it smells heavenly in here with this fire cider sitting here. So we're going to pour the rest of this up. I hope you have a great day and drink a little fire cider this winter. Thanks for joining me.